Donald Trump had a Florida rally last night and they were talking about undocumented immigrants, and this happened.
When you have 15,000 people marching up and you have hundreds and hundreds of people and you have 2 or 3 border security people that are brave and great, and don't forget, we don't let them and we can't let them use weapons. We can't. Other countries do. We can't. I would never do that. But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement. Only in the panhandle. So it's a tough situation, but if they change the loopholes, we'll have it perfectly. And when the wall is finished, it's going to be great.
So, in case it's not clear, that's a video where a Trump fan screamed out that we should be shooting migrants, and he smiled and laughed, and all the people around him were almost universally, also shockingly white, smiled and laughed at how funny it is that the solution to migrants crossing the United States is that we need to gun them down as they go across the border.
So John, usually when you say this is the center of a joke, I'm the first one, and you say it exactly like that, and you kind of say, well, this is what you're joking about. I usually go, you're killing the joke, John. Of course that's what the joke's about. In this situation, however, I will go over the wall onto your side and say, this is an insane moment. This is creepy, this is terrible. This is the moment when Donald Trump should, and I know I'm just kind of hoping for a world we don't live in, should think to himself, this dude in the audience yelled, shoot someone. And Donald Trump should have had a moment where he said, this is bad. And he didn't do that. Instead, he said, you can only get away with that statement in the panhandle, which is to say, you can absolutely get away with that statement, it's totally fine.
And what exactly is he saying about the panhandle there? It's like, oh, everywhere else in America, it would be a faux pas to talk about murdering immigrants.
I'll tell you about the
panhandle. But here, I mean, look at this place. Come on, that's gonna play well here.
It does play well there, the panhandle.
I'm sure it does, and in a lot of other parts of America. It's not just in the panhandle. It's at Trump rallies everywhere.
Race relations in the panhandle of Florida are really, really bad. And that's why he says you can get away with it.
And have been for as long as we've been a country, and even before.
Before we were this country.
Yeah, and so it's obviously terrible what it says about what he thinks about the Florida panhandle. It also is this thing where, like, politicians seem to believe, like he seems to get in the moment that my fans in this particular way are terrible. And I have to reassure them that I'm terrible in the same way, lest I lose them.
His entire grifting career has been finding people who don't see through his BS and profiting off that, benefiting off of that. Everyone. There's this amazing tweet from Seth MacFarlane in the lead up to Trump's election where he said, the reason I hate Donald Trump is I deal with Donald Trump's every freaking day. People who show up in Hollywood and pretend that they're awesome and say all these weird things and these provocative promises, and it ends up being just coke smoke and gold-plated mirrors.
Yeah.
And we saw it through, that is absolutely played out every day since he entered the national stage as a political figure.
Yeah.
And it continues in this situation too. Unfortunately, in this situation, it's really, really dangerous, insipid, and mean.
Yeah, because migrants are already targeted exactly in this way. I mean, we had Ken Klippenstein is going to join the show tomorrow to talk about his reporting. He filed a Freedom of Information Act request and found Border Patrol officers who were talking about how we need to march the migrants into gas chambers. We know that these militias have been going and literally kidnapping migrants. This is not some like just wild hypothetical. This is being pursued now. And there will be some people who will say, they'll always say this. They will always say this until long past America's not a democracy anymore. They're just joking. Why are you being so serious? They're just joking. The joke is just that we want to see these people killed and it's funny. The thing is, like, I saw someone recognize this on Twitter, which is 100% true. Back when lynchings were like a big thing and it was an event that a town would just go to, and families would go and they'd watch them string up a black person and kill them, and then they'd take parts of their body as little souvenirs of the experience. They would pose with photos and they'd smile in those photos too. And maybe there were some people at the time that thought like, oh, I would never do this. It's just a thing that's happening. But you're going along with it. And to me, that's just as bad. And I wanna show something. I understand this might be a little bit controversial. That crowd is packed full of thousands, possibly tens of thousands of people. I don't know for sure that they were all laughing. It certainly seems like it was a popular joke. But I noticed something while I was watching that video. And so I wanna focus on a part. We're gonna zoom in and enhance CSI style. And I wanna show you what happens to two people, two Trump fans, as that joke is being told.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no. That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement. Only in the panhandle. So it's a tough situation, but if they change the loopholes, we'll have it perfectly. And when the wall is finished, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, so there were a lot of people laughing in the frame, some people who were not, but there you saw the guy hears it first and big smile bursts across his face at the prospect of gunning down innocent migrants. His wife, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, didn't hear it. So they lean together, he whispers it to her, and then she starts to smile. And then the smile breaks out bigger when the cheering starts. And she realizes this is 100% okay. She starts smiling bigger. He starts clapping. You know what you do when you really support something that you're hearing or seeing? And his smile remains throughout. Hers looks a little bit more tentative. He has never been happier than he is in that moment because he gets to stand behind the guy that he worships and he gets to be surrounded by people who have the exact same hatreds of the exact same people that he does. And he is just glorifying and being surrounded by a big crowd that wants the same people dead that he does.
With great power comes great responsibility. Trump should take the responsibility to say that is not okay. And he doesn't. Yeah. He says you can get away with it because you're in the panhandle. No, but you can also get away with it at a Trump rally.
Yeah,
which
wherever.
There
you
are
do that in
political
LA at a Trump rally.
Many political rallies, people rally around the idea of freedom and equality and getting rid of the kinds of injustices that keep people from achieving the American dream. But this did not seem like a political rally. This seemed like a Klan rally because they were advocating for the murder of people who were different from them.
Yeah. And obviously Trump could have stopped it and he could have had a John McCain moment where he's like, oh, that's horrible, the thing that you said, get out of my rally. If you believe these things, I don't want you to support me. And maybe that seems like that'd be difficult for a politician to do in the moment. It's not, I'll demonstrate it. If you believe literally anything like that, stop listening to this podcast, turn off the video, never consume my content again. I don't want your support in any form in terms of views, comments, money, nothing. I have no interest in you for the rest of my career in political commentary. It's really that simple. And if it feels to you as an individual that why are we focusing on those two individuals? Why did we zoom in on them? They chose to go to a Trump rally after 2 years, 3 years of Trump. They know exactly what he is. They chose to stand directly behind him so that they could be on camera supporting Donald Trump. And it would have been the easiest thing in the world as they heard that joke. He could have started smiling, his wife could have leaned over, he could have whispered to her and she could have said, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not doing this anymore, and she could have walked out of the crowd. That would have been so simple. It's an easy way to have the wool pulled off of from covering your eyes that, oh wait, I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of people that look nearly identical and they're talking about murdering people. Nope, this isn't the room for me. But they decided in that moment that that is the room for them.
And that could have been a very redeeming moment. And instead it was just a very terrifying one.
It was. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.